Hi, this is Mark Wagner, and today we're going to talk about feedback. Feedback is the innate process behind all of creation, consciousness, and life itself. First, a little bit of metaphysical explanation of what I mean by feedback. The idea conceptually, if you can imagine, is an ocean of unity, undescribed, undifferentiated awareness. Voidness, oneness, awareness has the very property in that awareness is always becoming aware, becoming self-aware, as if nothingness were trying to fold back onto itself, twist itself, spin itself, rotate itself in order to once again see itself. A little bit as if you were trying to see the back of your head. A sort of impossible action over always becoming aware that you are aware. This creates a sort of feedback loop by which the ocean of nothingness, which is now rippling, goes back within itself to go back out to itself, to go back within itself to go back out to itself. The best example of how to create a similar sort of feedback loop is you take a video camera, you plug it into the projector or screen, and you film it, in which case it goes back through the video camera, back into the projector or the VCR or the DVD player or the computer, which goes back out onto the wall, which gets filmed, and so on and so forth, and you get all sorts of wonderful, dynamic, sometimes very psychedelic effects, and if you just regulate a little bit the intensity or the contrast and so on and so forth, you can see a sort of infinite looking tunnel that starts to get created. Anyway, the idea is that awareness becomes aware of being aware, and there's a feeling behind this. It's the same feeling that everyone has of simply being aware of existing, aware of themselves, before they're aware of being anything in particular. There's just that underlying feeling of being alive, of existing, and the name ascribed to that feeling, is I am. I am is the ultimate name of God, if you will, the ineffable name of consciousness itself, and the one common thread between everyone and everything. Everything is projected from every relative center. That means the center of me is my heart, the center of every atom, the center of the earth, the center of the solar system, the center of the galaxy, the center of the universe, so on and so forth. Every relative center has the same outward spherical projection happening, creating all of the wondrous and multitude of forms around you. The idea is simple, is that it's a feedback loop emanating out of every relative center, which then comes back onto itself, and therefore you get the universal principle of life, which is whatever you sow, you reap. Whatever you put out there as your vibration, as your frequency, ends up coming back to you. Obviously, you're emanating a whole multitude of vibrations and frequencies at any given instant, and so the experience that you reap or live as a result of it comes in the multitude of varieties and forms that we call life. And so life is really one great feedback loop, and that is why there is the impression of continuity and the consistence of continuity. Whatever you put out there comes back to you as a life experience, which in turn affects you, which in turn causes you to vibrate a new feeling, a new state of being, a new emotion, which in turn puts out the signal that goes out into the universe and comes back as an experience, a situation, an encounter, and once again affects you, in which case you put it out, and that, as far as I'm concerned, is the innate principle of life and our role within it. Feedback is the innate process of life. You find it at the heart of ecosystems, business, management, societies, and just the everyday dynamics between people communities, groups. I say something to you, you react to that, say something back to me, I react to that, say something back to you. It's always that feedback loop.